It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Elegance.
You know what that means? It's your feel-good breakfast show, and it is movie talk time with JP Sebastian. There's a movie that has really captured everybody's attention. It's a movie that I know that if you live in a monastery, you'll probably sit up and say, what do they say? But it's actually a movie that I believe that is going to shape somebody's career and get them back in that spotlight. Brendan Fraser, I'm talking about. This is called The Whale. JP Sebastian.
Wow, what an entry.
I had
I don't follow
to.
that.
There's something
What
about...
about poor Valfus Bay? Sorry.
Oh, that's just true, eh?
Let's
Sorry,
talk about the movie.
Valfus Bay.
Yeah.
You were also part of
Story.
this, okay?
But you brought up Brendan Fraser and why this means so much to him. You were wondering why he's been gone for all these years. A lot of people were. I know the story.
You know, there was an incident that I feel like didn't get the spotlight per se, unless you actually went to go look for it. You know what the media's like.
What he did is he told the world, he was like, guys, now that we're all talking about it quite freely, he said like I was sexually assaulted, and no one took him seriously, and everyone sort of laughed it off, and then he had himself blacklisted by the industry. Like, you can't speak out in the same way poor Mira Sorvino was supposed to be in Lord of the Rings, but then Harvey Weinstein said no because she said no. Anyway, it's a sick industry sometimes.
Oh,
yes,
man.
She was supposed to be Galadriel. Anyway, so Brendan Fraser loses a whole portion of his life because he had the courage to say, guys, I want to talk about some healing for myself. Then Darren Aronofsky comes along with The Whale, and he says, I made this for you. He says, I don't see anyone else in this role. And like I said to him, I don't know if you saw the interview that I did, I said, you are proof of the thesis that, you'll see in the clip that we'll show you, and in the trailer, he says, it is impossible for people to not care. People are incapable of not caring. Humans are geared, we are wired to check in on each other. So the reason why that's so important in the story is that the entire thing is set in this character's apartment, Charlie. Yeah. Charlie is a man who suffers morbid obesity, but more importantly, what we need to understand, especially as South Africans, especially as anyone all over the world, I think this is a condition that we take for granted. We stupidly say, oh, why don't you just get off the couch, do some push-ups, you're lazy. This is from a place of depression. Now, this is a place of trauma, a place of complete heartbreak. Yeah. And why that comes about is that the character realizes far too late in his life that he has been gay this whole time, that he has fallen in love with one of his students. He's an English lecturer, so that's complicated enough, their student-teacher relationship. Then watches this poor partner of his wither away in, I suppose it would be anorexia, bulimia, they don't make it distinct, and I'm not a professional on these matters, and sees die before him the love of his life. He left his family to be happy, possibly, but at the same time leaves his poor daughter and his wife, who he then loses for years. He purposely tries to reconnect with her because he knows he literally only has hours to live at the rate that he is, at the speed that he's living, the sort of the ferocity with which he is destroying himself because he's trying to deal with the pain, and he's just trying to leave some good in the world. The movie makes itself really hard for itself by making this character immediately not necessarily likable or just very human, down to earth, grounded. It's not like Precious, where she has to be a saint, she has to be an angel, and that was a good movie too. But this starts off with him being, I can't even describe, a way of just his humanity is very much grounded in a way that no one's perfect. None of us are perfect and whatever. Anyway, look, I'm over-talking myself and I'm taking a whale-sized gulp of this movie here, but how about I just let the movie speak for itself in the scene I was talking about in particular, which is the main thesis of this movie, and that we probably should all try and believe if we want to keep checking in on those we love, especially if they're in deep, dark places like The Whale.
She saved him. She wasn't trying to hurt him. She was trying to help him.
Who are you talking about?
He's going home. She did that.
Charlie.
She didn't do it to hurt him. She did it to send him home.
Do you feel lightheaded, Charlie? Look at me.
She's trying to help him.
Who?
Ellie. She was trying to help him. She just wanted to send him home. Do you ever get the feeling that people are incapable of not caring? People are amazing.
Wow. You know, the way you introed that clip and what that showed is the fact that this movie is a movie that it has to make you think. It has to make you care. about things that we always thought that it was okay to say certain things,
Yeah.
to have ideas and perceptions of certain scenarios in
Yeah.
people's lives,
Yeah.
about trauma, about suffering.
Where they
you
are.
always think at a distance, must be so bad. As you said earlier, get up and do some push-ups, you're going to be fine.
Stupid,
Just get
guys.
up, start the day. But if you
Be more
understand,
gentle with each other.
to be somebody who lacks mobility in a particular space, the psychological implications of that, you can't even fathom.
Yeah.
And you need to understand, you need to deal with the core first before you deal with the outcome.
Carl, this involves his angry daughter saying to him, well, if you love me so much, stand and walk to me. Like that is like climbing a mountain to this character. So Brendan Fraser, rightly nominated for an Oscar, most likely going to win.
Yeah.
Hong Chow, who you were just blown away
Yes,
by
yes,
in
yes.
that scene. The Menu, you all would have loved, just recently came out. She's
Yeah.
so good. So it's got 3 Oscar nominations, including screenplay, I believe, for Darren Aronofsky. Interestingly, this follows on from The Fountain in terms of its thesis. If you're a fan of Aronofsky, you'll love that too. So JP's got to give this some points. 8 out of 10 is what I give The Whale. Speaking of like a movie leaving you with something, when I left the cinema, I immediately locked into conversation with complete strangers in the sense of one of these characters, which is just to go, dude, how are you feeling, man? Are you okay? Let's talk honestly and from the heart or whatever. Complete stranger. And this movie incited me to do that. And yeah, maybe it'll do the same for you. Coming out today. Do watch it.
The Whale. So you said it's out, eh?
Yeah. Shoot, jeez, man, I cried. You're seriously you're gonna sob, bro.
Well, enjoy. Please go watch The Whale, get thinking and get caring. And you know what? Small talking bits for everybody, little conversations of positivity that makes a massive difference.